Now, yesterday I touched on how many people are still on unemployment benefits despite labour shortages right across the country. It puzzles me, but it's around 1 million people. The Labor government wants a bigger Australia, but do ordinary Australians think that's the right way to go? Joining me now is John Storey from the Institute of Public Affairs. John, great to catch up with you. How is it that public opinion and government policy are so widely apart?
Hi, Steve. Thanks for having me. I think there is clearly a democracy deficit here where I think ordinary Australians feel that immigration policy is out of their control. Neither political party really ran on the issue of immigration at the last election, yet here we have a big Australia immigration policy that's imposed on people. The opinion polling commissioned by the Institute of Public Affairs shows that 60% of Australians would like a pause on our immigration until the infrastructure, the roads, the hospitals, the schools, and in particular houses are addressed first.
Well, governments love bigger populations, don't they, John, for one main reason: there's more people to tax.
That's right. All immigration stimulates some degree of economic growth. It does grow the pie, but the problem is if it's not done in the right way, if it's not planned for, if there isn't the infrastructure to deal with the people coming into the country, ordinary Australians are actually left worse off. Their share of the pie actually shrinks. And that's the problem we've got at the moment. We already have a critical housing shortage, yet we're going to import hundreds of thousands of new people into Australia. That's going to drive up inflation. It's going to make it even more difficult for young Australians to get into the housing market, and it can actually leave people worse off. And the problem is, the crazy issue is that a lot of the economic problems we're suffering, which is, as you pointed out, a shortage of workers, can be dealt with in Australia much more affordably without having to spend tens of millions of dollars on new infrastructure. There are Australians who want to work, pensioners, veterans, students, who are prohibited because of red tape and unfair tax policy.
Yeah, I agree. I think we need to get older Australians an easier passage back into the workforce so it doesn't smash their pension. The other debate, I think, John, that we need, and I don't think the Labor government federally or the state Labor governments have the stomach for this, is better targeted immigration and a system of visas to somehow ask people to go to regional and rural Australia. Your thoughts on that idea?
Well, it's definitely true that immigration will always be part of the solution for Australia. It always has been. Australia's been greatly enriched by immigration. And that's exactly right. We want immigration that'll really help Australia and address the problems we've got, including in rural areas. Now, the government just commissioned a report into the immigration system, and the verdict was that our immigration system is broken. And I've got some sympathy with that. It's very bureaucratic. There's all these different visas trying to target different things that were imposed by different political parties at different times. But if you're told, well, your car's broken, you don't drive it flat chat for the next 2 years. That's what our immigration is now. We've got a broken system. Okay, we need to address it. We need to better target the skill shortages. How do we get people in so that they've got the infrastructure they need, that they're directed to the right places? But we're going full charge with immigration with no plan in place for the sorts of things that you just talked about, targeted immigration that addresses the needs that the Australian community has.
Well, we should target skills for a start, not just have, say, bring in 750,000 people. I mean, as you point out, what's that going to do to rents? I mean, people already are seeing rental increases of 30, 40, 50%. People, I was at an apartment block the other day. There was an apartment there for rent. There would have been 100 people queued up round the corner waiting to get in and have a look at the joint.
And this is a sort of spiral if it's not handled properly. You bring in someone with a skill that the community needs, like in healthcare or whatever, they need a house. Well, then you need someone skilled to build the house, and it doesn't solve any of the problem. We need the infrastructure first, and the way we sort of stop that spiral is to tap into the resources, the underutilised resources we have in Australia right now. In New Zealand, 25% of their pensioners work full or part-time. In Australia, it's 3% because of our unfair tax policies and red tape. And opinion polling shows that 20% of pensioners would like to work but feel that they can't because they'll lose their pension. 20% of Australian pensioners, that's 500,000 people, and they say that the job shortages we have is only about 400,000. Now, I'm not saying pensioners can solve all problems, but that'll take a lot of the pressure off. We can find out where the real needs are and target that with our immigration policy.
John Storey from the IPA, thank you very much for helping us out.